episode of Ask Leah. Boy, what a crazy big week it has been. I wanted to jump on and do a live tonight because I've had a couple of cracking great questions come through, but also because I wanted to give you a chance, if you would like to ask a question while we are live. Because to say it is a pretty rough time at the moment is a bit of an understatement. Here in Gippsland, where I am, we go to new restrictions tonight. There's been a few new cases pop up today. And it has been day one for many of us of remote learning 2.0. Yes, that remote learning that I celebrated finishing only what seems like a few weeks ago is back again. I have my three boys home with me. I delivered a workshop today, but I do have a big benefit this time in that my husband is home. So this time around for me, it doesn't all fall to me, which I'm hugely grateful to have his support. I want to start off tonight by asking, how are you? And I want to follow that up with the second question that I've been asking everyone I've been speaking to over the last few days, and that is, how are you really? Because the first question usually gets oh, I'm pretty fine, I'm okay, I'm hanging in. And when I ask it a second time, straight after, that's where I get the real response. And the thing I've been finding in the conversations I've been having over the last few weeks is that actually a whole lot of people aren't okay at all. And in fact, this time it's hitting people a lot harder than it did first time around. A lot of people are feeling overwhelmed, really exhausted and fatigued, and obviously anxious as well. And I'm not going to, go on and preach for long on this because I do have some great questions to answer. But I did just want to remind people that just like this virus is incredibly contagious, so is bloody kindness. And at a time when so many people are snapping and stressed and not at their best, and that might be you as well sometimes, I know it's me sometimes, but this is when we need more than ever kindness and compassion. And if you can do that for someone, even in the smallest way, I sent a couple of emails on the weekend to people who have really been helping me out lately. I sent some to the school teachers as well. And, I got some responses to those emails, which were just really quick. Thank you. I so appreciate your work. Thanks for everything you're doing. And the responses I got back were really powerful. One of the emails I sent got a response back with, thank you so much, Leah, for taking the time to write that because it has given me the boost I need to get through the day. So we never know the power that our words can have. So I just encourage you to practice kindness and compassion at this time. Hi, Joe. Great to have you on board. Okay, two awesome questions tonight. And I want to kick off with the first one, which came in, and it's about leadership. And it came in from someone who's not in a leadership position. And they said they've always struggled because they're not in management, not in leadership, yet sometimes they need to challenge management or leadership or step up into that sort of leadership role, but not with the title, And they said to me, how do I start seeing myself as a leader? Because I have sort of always associated it with a title, and maybe I'm holding myself back by doing that because, maybe I need to be more of a leader myself. Now, my response to this person is it's simple. It's really simple, actually, because leadership is not a title. It is an action. And this is something that a lot of people don't seem to get. I work with a lot of managers and leaders by title who are not leaders at all. By the same token, I work with a whole lot of people who are at staff level, then don't have a leadership position in their title, but they are leading in ways that other people aren't. So how do we do that? How do we become empowered to be a leader without the title? Now, like I said, it's simple, but don't confuse simple with easy. How we be a leader is we lead ourselves first. We lead ourselves first. A few weeks ago on Ask Leah, you would have seen me draw 3 circles, a diagram that said leadership is the intersection of what we think, say, and do. And essentially, if we want to step up and be a leader, it's about how well we manage our mind, our communication, and our behavior. Okay? So real leaders have a mindset that is not focused in victim mode, that is all about taking personal responsibility, owning their mistakes when they make them, and really having that growth or open mindset. They communicate in a way that is respectful, that is controlled and managed, okay? And they are able to say those things. But crucially, a real leader has the backup of the way they act. What they do is in alignment with what they think and what they say. So you might say you value respect. A true leader will actually behave that way. They will communicate with respect with other people. They won't suck up to the CEO and then badmouth the cleaner. Okay, a true leader is authentic in living in alignment with what they really value. So, to the person who asked this question, my advice would be, how do I empower myself to be more of a leader? Focus on leading yourself first. And when you lead yourself first really well, people want to follow that. So I hope that answers your question or gives you some tips there. Second question tonight came in from Christine, and it's a cracking great question. It has to do with people who criticise or bitch about other people behind their back. And Christine said that, I've got a real problem with people who do this and, that do get in that bitch and complain mode about other people. And she said usually her approach is asking the person who's doing the bitching, have you spoken to the person directly about this concern? And she said, but what I really want to do is say to them, shut the hell up. Okay, shut the hell up and don't badmouth people. And she asked me for my thoughts on what the best approach to responding to this is. And hi, Tanya, thanks for joining. Couple of tips. First off, Christine, I'm with you. I actually think that approach of saying, have you had this conversation with that person yet, is a great approach. And that's a strategy I use myself. Couple of other points. First off, and I know you know this, but for everyone else watching, we can't control other people. We can only control us. So we can't control the fact that someone is bitching or complaining about someone else. We can know that we don't want to do that ourselves, but we can't control them. What we can control is our response to them, and we can also try to influence their behavior by maybe saying something like, have you had a conversation with them yet? But we do need to understand we can't control them. But here's some other things we can do. We might ask, have they had the conversation yet? You might also ask, what do you need from me here? Is it that they just need to have a bit of a vent? Because there is a difference between that real toxic bitching and criticising and needing to have a vent to a friend about something. Do they just need an ear to listen? So that can be a way to really pull the other person up and say, have you had this conversation? If they say, no, God, I haven't had this conversation. Okay, so by sharing it with me, what do you need? And that can make people really step back. The other thing you can do is potentially, and it depends on your relationship with the person. It's not about being passive aggressive or guilting them, but you might say to them, okay, so I hear what you're saying. I can see you're upset with that person. So I statements and empathy without agreeing with them, but showing that they're heard. But then you might say something like, so if this was them and they were speaking about you this way, how would you feel? Because we often don't think of that. We'll speak in this way about other people, but we'd be horrified if someone did that to us. And sometimes just getting that awareness can help. And the final tip, if you're not familiar with Rachel Robertson's no triangles approach, I cannot recommend it highly enough. Rachel Robertson, Antarctic expedition leader who wrote the cracking great book Leading on the Edge. She's just released a second book actually, which is called Respect Trumps Harmony, which is great as well, but definitely read Leading on the Edge first. The concept of no triangles is the idea that if you have a problem with someone, you speak directly to them. I won't speak about you with someone else, and they won't speak about me to someone else. So we don't create the 3-point triangle. We have direct conversations. Now, how can this help if someone else is doing the bitching and complaining? Your first step, like you've done, have you had a direct conversation? If they say no, but they keep going, you are absolutely entitled to say something like, you know what, I want to just stop you right there. I can see you're upset by this, but I'm working really hard to practice no triangles. And that means that, you know, I'll encourage you to have a conversation with them, but I don't want to be the third point in someone's triangle, because I'm really committed to having these direct conversations because I believe that it builds trust and respect. And, you know, I get that you want to have this conversation with me, but I hope you respect that this is my choice. No triangles is incredibly powerful. It's simple. It can transform workplace cultures in a really powerful way. So I encourage you to have a look into that more. Again, there's no right or wrong, but you get to choose your response to it. And if someone's doing this and you've made it clear that you don't want to hear it, they're not willing to have a direct conversation, that can be where you choose to either disengage totally from the conversation, or sadly, in some cases, when you have people that do this in a chronic way, there can be cases where you have to really ask yourself, do I want to be around this person? Is this someone that I want to spend a lot of time with? So that is it from me tonight in answering your questions. I loved having them come through this week. I do have a few others to answer, but I'd love some more, particularly if there's anything I can do to help you through what is an incredibly challenging time. I am really heavily booked over the next couple of months, which is going to be a challenge with the kids, as more and more workplaces are realizing that it is the soft skills that will help them through the tough times. But for my awesome community, I am always here for you. So please do reach out if you have a question that you would like answered. Thanks very much for your time, everyone. Have a great night. Stay safe and stay sane. Cheers.